Coins is a startups helping businesses to accept crypto payment from anywhere in the world, and they get settled in their local currency. So those are the three things I've done, and I'm a software engineer, by the way, and that's what I do with my company also. It's nice to be here today.
So it's nice to have you on board. Okay, so while a few others join in, we are going to do two things today. First of all, we are going to hear from the well of knowledge from Mr. Victor. He is actually playing the game here in the country, and that is quite, how do I put it? It's rare. Yes, the blockchain space is quite new, blockchain technology, and the Web3 space, Web 3.0 space is growing, and there's a hype around it. But within the country, there is a lot of controversy around it. So we'll be hearing from the horse's mouth directly. So while we do so, we're also going to be recording this section. A little disclaimer, none of what is being disclosed is actually considered as a financial advice, but we'll try as much as possible to be straightforward and straight to the point about some of the discussions we are having. And then finally, after the recording, it will be shared with the community for those that were not fortunate enough to join in. We had a very long section in the morning, and I just hope most of them will also join in this evening. Okay, so we are already recording. I also have with me my co-facilitator, Mr. Itwa Emmanuel. Itwa.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Marcel. Mr. Victor, it's nice to have you here with us, and I'm really looking forward to see how this panel section can pan out.
Yeah. Okay. I believe most of us already know Mr. Itwa, so I'll also introduce himself. Okay, Mr. Itwa is the co-founder of Impact, and also it's a co-founder at Agulite. Agulite is a Web3 global Web3 learning space. We try as much as possible to get people into the space, get them up and running. Web blockchain developers, front-end engineers, mobile engineers, all in the Web3 spaces. Okay, he's a partner and a very good friend of mine, and he'll be helping us and participating in this section. Secondly, we are also expecting the legal advisor and on the person of Mr. Augustine, who will be joining us very soon. He sent a message that he'll be joining a little bit late. Please pardon, but we can proceed with Mr. Victor. Okay? Okay. So Victor, we'll try as much as possible to make it more engaging, and there will be questions on the chat area, and we'll try to pick as little questions as possible so that we don't spend much time on the discussion. Okay, so for the first question, some people have already predefined the people that sent on the group. So Mr. Victor, would like to know, first of all, you've done a little introduction about yourself, and that's very nice. But you are actually a co-founder of a crypto payment platform here in Nigeria. So it means that at a point in time, you took interest in blockchain technology, and the interest actually grew into a venture. You creating a platform that enables businesses and SMEs to accept payment from anywhere in the world. So we'd like to know, first of all, what piqued your interest in the blockchain technology or in the Web3 space? What happened? What brought you to that space?
Okay, thank you for that question, Marcel. Yeah, so how I got into blockchain is in 2020, I was working at Global Accelerate. It's a fintech company, and what we do is like we build something similar to PayStack, helping people to accept payment online, and also agency banking. You know, a lot of people on the roadside using agency banking with POS, people withdrawing money and all of these things. So that was the first time I heard about crypto. I think that was 2018. I heard about crypto first in 2018, but I ignored it. All those 2017, 2018, I ignored it. Then in 2019, I looked back and okay, in 2019, I now bought Bitcoin. I think maybe like 2,000 naira worth of Bitcoin or 2,005. Then after I checked, sometimes after, I don't know, whether 2020, I just saw that the money was 10,000 naira. Somehow, and I knew that when I bought this, I just put 2,000 naira there. So it got more of my interest, like, wow, how does this work? what exactly is this thing? That was how I get to like, okay, let me learn about crypto. Then I started, putting myself into crypto, started putting a lot of money in crypto, and get to a stage that people will just tell me that, okay, let's say I need a service for something. I'll just tell the people that you guys accept crypto. I don't have Naira. So I started paying for goods and services even with crypto. Like I started seeing that, okay, this thing can even solve beyond, okay, trading crypto, investing crypto. What about using it as a form of payment? That it can go against, there is nothing like devaluation anymore. Imagine if just 2 weeks ago you put money in crypto, just stable coin like USDT. By now, you already have profits when you try to convert back to Naira. So all of this devaluation, when you compare how, as a Nigerian, you know that Naira gets devalued like very fast. But when you compare, like, okay, if I have cryptocurrency, it doesn't get devalued. This is controlled globally, internationally, and it is decentralized. So all of these things are why I ventured into crypto. And because I, as a person, have been using crypto to make international payment, like, okay, come on, I need this. You guys, because I buy a lot of things online, from different kind of places. And I see that people are saying that not from Nigeria now, saying that, okay, they are willing to accept crypto. Can you guys pay with crypto? Yes. And I've seen situations where I work for a client and the client even say that they want to pay with crypto. So all of these cases are what led to me building a crypto payment platform. Yeah. I hope I answered your question.
Yes. Okay, so you getting involved in crypto wasn't just it didn't just happen. You gradually got to know about it way back. I know you would have wished that you actually invested at 2000 the first time you heard about it, but no problem. So that's a nice story. But the fact that you have a venture built on the blockchain technology is quite amazing. Okay, so secondly, I would like to double down on your response. Okay, so now you have a venture on the Web3 space, a blockchain technology, a venture built on the blockchain technology. So, can you describe your experience so far? I know it's not easy running something like that in the country. Or from your own experience, what has been the experience so far?
Okay. All right, Marcel. Thank you for that. So the idea so far is that a lot of people are like in Nigeria now. In Nigeria, a lot of people are still like scared, and there is not enough education out there on crypto. As much as people are shouting crypto, you will be surprised that the local man there only know that, hey, anything Bitcoin is fraud. That's what they believe. Anything Bitcoin is fraud. Anything Bitcoin is fraud. Anything that has to do with coin is fraud. Anything that is digital money is fraud. So all of these things means that there is still like lack of education in terms of crypto. So those are the things that I've discovered, and those are like what I could count as part of the challenges of building a crypto-related product, anything blockchain. This thing, it's a new technology, and people don't understand that cryptocurrency. What is cryptocurrency? Where is my money? Where is my money? Where is my money? So all of these things are the challenges I have faced,
Yes, yes.
building a crypto startup. Yeah.
Okay. That's a deep one. I understand what you mean by people not being aware and people still riding on the ignorance, saying that anything related to cryptocurrency is fraud. Okay, so that's a reaction from the market. What of your business partners? Probably you help businesses or you've approached businesses for them to accept payments using crypto. What has been their reactions from the get go?
Okay, now from the
Businesses, yeah.
perspective of businesses accepting crypto payment, now the thing is like people that are building products, they understand that, wow, we have, especially when it comes to this. Okay, let me explain something now. This is how it works. A lot of Nigerians, they have crypto. You will agree with me that Nigeria is part of the, globally recognized when it comes to trading crypto. When they are talking about volume, when they are listing number 1 to 10,
Yeah.
you see Nigerians. So we
Yes.
are there now. So they know that businesses abroad now that are targeting Africans, they know that Nigerians have crypto. They know that Nigeria might face difficulties in paying them. So those are the kind of people that get to use our platform. You own a business, let's say you run a startup you are in UK. You use our own platform that, oh, I'm targeting Nigerians, and Nigerians have cryptocurrency. If I accept crypto, Nigerians will be able to pay me well. Are you with me? those are the kind of people that finally get to use our own payment. Yeah,
Okay. That's that's a
I
nice
think
approach to it. Okay. Yeah. So I get you. I get you. So the businesses that are willing to work with Nigerians and with the intention, knowing that Nigeria is, I think Nigeria is like third. As of 2021 January, Nigeria was first when it comes to trading crypto, the volume. So with that
yeah,
said, that's a nice. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So it
I
means
think
that
we're
your
about three
partners
now.
and stake. Yeah, three now. Yeah. So it means partners and stakeholders are really adapting the payment using crypto. Okay, now this is where I'm very curious, and I know most of us also have. This is a question that has been is a question that has been lying dormant. How do you do it? I know the CBN here in the country. CBN, for those that are not in Nigeria, this is Central Bank of Nigeria. They have a ban on crypto. How did you do it? How do you still run a venture? I know it's a secret source. If you don't want to disclose, no problem. How do you still run a venture and avoid the crackdown on CBN?
That's a whole lot. Yeah, it's a whole lot internally technology wise to that. Anyways, but what
Sure.
I what I would just say is that what we do is like, for example, now when you accept crypto payment, you probably want to get your money in naira, right? That is where the problem comes in with CBN. Okay, CBN is telling you that they don't want you to trade crypto for naira, right? But whether we like it or not, do you know that even though the government has the highest power, the people also they have a lot of power that we are ignoring. The people's power should not be ignored. If millions of Nigerians are saying that they have naira, they want crypto. See, as long as there are people interested in getting crypto in Nigeria, and there are people with naira to give you that naira for you to give them that crypto, there won't be difficulty in swapping crypto to naira. Do you get it? So that is what you should. A lot of
Yeah.
Nigerians they have cryptocurrency, and they don't even have difficulty swapping it. Like, trust me. So Nigerians already know that. So what we do is like on our platform, you accept your crypto, we settle you in your wallet. Now on your wallet, you can easily connect to anyone who owes naira. Then there is a very strong KYC, so you can't lose your money. And there's another, you can't just lose your money for that. So like that, you get your naira account, your naira, the money equivalent of that crypto in your naira bank account. And because we are not targeting Nigerians alone, we are targeting people from Ghana, people from Kenya, and even people from UK and US. We want to be paying out pounds and euros. So on the long run, if Nigeria government doesn't, change the policy, of course we will use other people, we onboard other citizens of different other countries, even in Africa and out of Africa.
Okay. Okay. That's a nice compromise. I think, simply put, you should not lay all your eggs in one basket. Yet, yes, you're a citizen of the country, you're from Nigeria, but you're offering services to people even beyond the country. And if your customers, if your users want to use a form of payment, who are you not to render service to your users? Okay, so no problem. I get that part. Okay, so uh, now, this is the other side of this. I know you're already in the space, you are thriving in the space, but are there other trends in the blockchain technology that we should keep our eye open for? Yes, you're already there. Probably we are late in the game, but are there other trends within the space you would recommend we keep our eye open for?
Yeah, sure. There are other things. There are so many things that we could keep our eyes open for. For example, something like let me just highlight things that are currently trending in blockchain. There is NFT. I know you must have heard a lot about that. Please give me
Yeah.
a minute. Yes, please. I'm very sorry I lost my network. Marcel, please. Apologies about that, please. Are we together now?
Yes,
All right, so I was
yes, yes,
talking
you can
about,
continue.
yeah. So quick one, I was talking about NFT marketplace. That these are like new trends coming on blockchain. People building game kind of thing that you play game and then you earn crypto. And people that they love playing games before. Imagine that you can now play game, you can now earn money. So people want to play more and they can earn for free. NFT has changed the way art is. For example, now when there was lockdown, a lot of tourism centers, they could not make money because people are not coming in to buy their art. But when NFT came in, people could even sell their art online for millions of dollars. So all of these things are what blockchain technology is bringing to people. And there are other countries that they are already integrating blockchain technology in another way. For example, for voting system, where imagine we want to vote for president. That if I vote, everybody is saying one. Tokwe will vote from another country. I mean, from another state in Nigeria. You see two. That at the end of the day, all of us will see the result. No, not controlled by anybody. Imagine such a decentralized platform. That would be the most sincere voting platform that we will ever have in the world. Like, it is not controlled by no one. You cannot even use any fake data. It is the number of people voting. As they are voting, the count is increasing, and anybody can see the number at any time from anywhere in the world. Imagine that kind of thing too. That is also the power of blockchain technology. It is also being used in health sector. So many things are coming up lately on blockchain technology. Yeah, and I hope with that one I am able to answer your question.
Yes, you shed more light on that. I think NFT is one I'm fascinated with. I'm already in the space, but gradually is trending. And for the prospect of voting using blockchain technology is also it brings transparency to the process, and that's all fine and good. Although I have my own reservations on if it is practical enough, especially for our country. But moving forward, I think we have some questions on the chat area. I will just bring it up. Okay, so a question goes that do you need to register your company abroad to bypass the country's regulation on crypto? So that's one question we have on the chat area.
Do I need my country to bypass?
No, he said, do you need to register your company abroad? I think the person is trying to say, do you need to do a company registration abroad in order to bypass
Okay, for
the
us, although
company's
for us though, we are registered in United States anyways, but it depends. It depends on whoever is depends on the capacity of the person that is trying to build this crypto solution. It is best if you can afford to register out of Nigeria because Nigeria government will not register any crypto related company. Do you get me? So that is just the
Okay.
challenge. It is better to register out of the country. Yeah, it is better.
Okay, okay. So I
So
think
I think
the person that threw that question,
did I answer that question, please?
yeah, okay, let me add to that. Okay, so according to the question, so he's saying that you do not need, you can, you can do that because as a citizen of the country, we're talking about Nigeria now, they will not register you as long as your startup is tied to crypto. So you can, if you have,
Yeah, you are right. It
you
can, it
can,
can, it can. It's better to register out of Nigeria.
it's
Nigeria will not
another
register
country
any
that
crypto
allows,
related.
yeah. Okay, okay. So I believe that sheds more light on that question. Okay, so we have another question on the chat area. The question goes like this: what are your insights to the progress of blockchain in the transaction sector? Okay. I
What
think he's
are what are
asking
my
question with
insights?
respect to the transaction. I think it's the payment sector. Yeah.
Okay,
I
okay.
don't
Let
know
me.
who asked
I
this
think
question,
I
if you can rephrase it. What are your insights to the, yeah? Okay, did you get it?
I
Yeah.
get the question. Okay, okay. So I think if I get the question clearly,
Okay.
what the person is probably trying to ask is how does payment occur on blockchain in the sense that if you move money on blockchain, I should like the insight I have in terms of okay now I have a cryptocurrency, right? I'm trying to transfer my cryptocurrency maybe from one crypto wallet to another wallet. All of these things are up, they're happening on blockchain. That's what the person is. And how does it happen? So what happens in most cases when you try to move money from one address to another address on the chain is that immediately you try to move your money, then a queue is created for that money you are trying to move on the chain. That is why sometimes you will see that some applications will tell you when you are trying to move money from address that it is in queue. And after
Okay.
the queue is created, then after some time the miners will pack. That is where mining fee comes in, which is also equivalent to, some people call it gas fee, some call it network fee, some call it mining fee, which is the money required for that money to be mined and transferred from that wallet you are moving it from to another wallet. That kind of thing. And all of these things happen on chains. And after that is when you now see something like block confirming. That is why they call it on chain and some block will be confirmed. This is why they call it like blockchain. So after the block has been confirmed is when your payment will now be moved. Your money will be moved from that wallet address to another wallet address successfully. That kind of thing. That's what happens when money is moved from one address to another address.
Okay. I think that's a
Can I come in?
step-by-step approach. Yeah, it's I can come in.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you short, myself. Mr. Victor, I think where the thing comes in is in the regards of, right, blockchain now is playing a role in the transaction space, right? You are trying to make people make payment back crypto, and then you pay them in that currency once the payment is made. So right now, that's like a business model that is there. But we're saying, okay, is there any innovation you are citing right now as to, okay, how people are going to be making transactions with, crypto is not just the only thing in blockchain. So is there anything you're citing as trends or what you are seeing, like if you are looking in the future, how people will now be interacting with transactions or will be making transactions with blockchain technology?
I honestly don't get your question. I don't know if you can I don't get your question. If you can come again, I will appreciate it.
All right. Let me phrase it this way. Right now, the transaction is crypto, and crypto is one of the blockchain technologies, right?
Yeah,
So there's
yeah,
other
yeah.
things, these smart contracts and all those kind of things. So, are you seeing? What are your insights on, okay, how smart contracts may affect transactions? I'm just giving that as an example, and how maybe DAOs will also affect transactions. Maybe I'm just saying. Is there anything you
Okay,
are seeing?
okay. I think if I get you clearly, like this makes me want to talk about payer coins. Anyways, like if I get you clearly, what you are saying is like how has blockchain affect the payment space?
Yes, and what are the future
Of
disruptions that will happen?
Oh, okay. I get the question. So now this is the thing. Now if you will observe very well, you realize that for global transaction, when it comes to cross-border payment, crypto has really been helpful. Now, for example, look at Nextford University. Nextford University is a platform where they help Nigerians, to study abroad, all of those things. And those guys on their platform, they accept crypto for their payments. Because how many Nigerians can pay out pounds? From Nigeria, it is very difficult for you to pay out pounds because there are no applications. So crypto has really solved a lot of cross-border payments problem. That is part of even what Paycoins is doing. The fact that cryptocurrencies are decentralized, anybody from anywhere in the world can own any crypto coin. And the fact that anyone that owns any crypto from anywhere can pay anyone from anywhere, that solves a lot of cross-border payment issue. Do you understand that?
Yeah,
So
yeah, I get.
that is one way. That is one way crypto has really changed the payment scene. And another thing that I want you to know that will happen in the future is that imagine we get to an agent on the street and you be like, okay, I want to withdraw 10,000 naira there, and the agent will tell you that I accept crypto, I accept naira, I accept all of this. You will just be surprised that wow. So if I send you crypto now, you mean you will give me naira? Yes, I will give you the cash. that is what I feel, that everything that has happened with Naira will also happen with crypto. And I believe that it might take time, but there will be days that you start seeing POS agents telling you that they now take cryptocurrency and they will give you your cash that you need. So that is what I believe will be the future when in terms of payment.
All right. Thank you. I think just a
Okay.
follow-up. Like, I would like to know your own view, personal opinion on the in era. What do you think? How do you think the in era will affect us as Nigerians? Maybe I'm saying you should rather be optimistic, but I want your own
So just
opinion.
okay, just to be very honest and sincere, I wouldn't have loved to like even talk about it though, because for me, Inera is not built on blockchain. One, Inera is just a way that I will say that it has been used to just run that. Have you heard about Inera at all? You cannot easily convert any crypto to Inera. Inera is just a way that I don't know. It's just a way that government used to just get stuff out. Like I don't know. That's just the thing. It's not built on blockchain. There is nothing really innovative about Inera. So it's not something. It's not even the talk of the town anymore. You will agree with me that you are not hearing about it anywhere. No one is, because if Inera is built on blockchain, then you will hear about it. That is the thing about Inera. That is like that's my own perspective. I really would not like to talk about it really.
I understand. It's a very
Okay.
even my colleagues say don't like talking about it, but I definitely understand. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing.
Okay.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
So thank you. Okay. So to ease the pressure on Victor a bit, we have our second panelist with us. We have Mr. Austin. So, Mr. Augustine, we are happy to have you on board. And not to throw you on the hot seat, I've given you access to actually speak. You can unmute yourself and speak. I'd like you to do a little introduction of yourself before we proceed.
Somebody
And
throws you on
yes,
the hot seat and he says, I don't want to throw you on the hot seat. Is it not the same thing? He has thrown me on the hot seat. I'm on the hot seat already, Joe. My name is Augustine Ungu. I'm the lead legal strategist of Amalgam Legal. Uh, been interested in the blockchain technology space for a long while. We've actually helped set up at the peak of the blockchain for her. We helped set up, please don't tell anyone, a blockchain exchange, but wasn't called an exchange and was therefore able to scale through the regulatory issues in Nigeria. Right. What happened? Did anybody hear that last part? I
okay.
tried to mumble it, but
You didn't. You succeeded in mumbling it. We didn't get it. I don't know why you did that,
okay.
but
I
probably you
I
have your
said that
reasons.
one of the things we've done over the years, or I think within the last 2 years, 2 3 years, we have set up a blockchain company that was an exchange, but was not for regulatory purpose termed an exchange, and then it passed through the regulatory impediments in Nigeria, right? Um, so we've had quite some knowledge about that. It's something we don't like sharing about all the time for certain personal reasons, anyway. But it's an interesting space. Thank you. So am I in the hot seat now? It's an interesting space.
Yes, you are in the hot seat. So I know he's
So what
trying to
am
be
I?
modest a bit. Uh, I know he's trying to be
Right.
modest, but the essence of this discussion is so I can actually shed more light on a few things without being modest. He's like he said, he's a legal
Okay.
strategist, and he has a lot of they have a lot of strategy around some regulations that might affect startups, especially in the blockchain space. So
Okay.
we're happy
All
to
right.
have you on board.
Yeah. Right. I think one of not I think one of the biggest challenges we need in discussing this topic is to be able to distinguish to be able to think in two forms. First off, we need to understand the assumption I'm making here is that we understand the decentralized nature of the blockchain technology. Okay. And if I make a mistake, I refer to the blockchain. Pardon me, I'm referring to the blockchain technology. Yes. I'm not referring to any specific blockchain. Okay. I'm referring to the blockchain technology itself. what the problem we have seen most of the time is that there's a modeling of the blockchain technology and companies or businesses that use the blockchain technology and companies or businesses that provide services based on the blockchain technology. Those are three distinctions that people need to understand. So I said that for a reason. So sometimes people say the blockchain technology is not what's the word? It's regulated. It's not allowed in Nigeria, right? Then some other time people say it's the crypto space that it's regulated, and then there are certain issues. But I don't think we should look at it like that. So let's go with the first one I was talking about. The blockchain technology, because of its decentralized nature, creates a problem of legal regulation. What do I mean? Let's say, okay, let me not get too in complex. But I'll say this: the blockchain technology creates a problem of legal regulation in terms of if there is one general law that regulates blockchain technology across all, there is none. And for you to understand that, you need to understand, like I was saying, the decentralized nature of the blockchain. That decentralized nature, without having a central authority, makes it virtually impossible to have one uniform law regulating it. This is what I mean. If I have a transaction with Marcel, and Marcel is in the UK, I'm in Nigeria. No, Marcel is in Nigeria, I'm in the UK. I should be the one in the UK. Marcel is in Nigeria. I'm in the UK, Marcel is in Nigeria. And then I have a transaction with him that is based on the blockchain, right? Blockchain technology. What country's law regulates that transaction? Becomes a challenge, right? Or I build certain businesses that is based on the blockchain, and the several nodes of the blockchain are in several countries. How do we regulate that? So there's no one law that says blockchain technology, this is what regulates it. That's the first challenge that most startups need to have to grasp, or anyone playing in the space. But blockchain transaction within a particular country is of course regulated by the laws of the country dealing with commerce, right? It's regulated by the laws of the country dealing with commerce. That's simple. There's no need getting all giggy like all hot rebellious about the whole concept, right? Then the other component, therefore, is this: if a company that is setting up a blockchain-based solution or entity or business, that company is regulated by the laws of the country in which it's setting up. Typical example: I'm setting up a Web 3.0 company that is into advisory on all things Web 3.0, and I'm incorporating that company in Nigeria. For me to incorporate that company in Nigeria, I need to comply with Nigerian laws regulating incorporation of company and every other regulation. That might be different from the regulations in Singapore. Singapore seems to be a matured entity when it comes to blockchain, right? So this simple distinction are what we need to get. So to expect that there's a specific law that regulates everything blockchain, and like I said, blockchain technology itself, is to get into a problem. Most of the time, specific use cases dictate the type of law that regulates it. Let's say this example: someone comes and says, I want to raise a security token, right? It's going to get interesting. The security token is like a stock, a shares. Now, first off, what regulates security token? There is no law in general that applies all abroad. What regulates is the securities law in this country. I'm using the difference in Nigeria. Of course, some regulation like Malaysia, Singapore, and the rest have specific laws dealing with security tokens. So that's the whole point. I want us to look at it from that point. That there is generally no law known that regulates blockchain technology all over the world. But specific transactional cases can bring up issues of regulation when it's across border. But when it is within border, the regulatory issues are pretty narrow. Then in setting up entities that are building products that are based on blockchain technology, one will need to understand the country's regulation to be able to build that. With these 3 points of mine, thank you.
So, hello, Mr. Austin. Good evening. I like how you came in. You just got into the hot seat and just shattered the seat.
No, I'm trying to.
All right. So there's something that actually came to mind when you raised this topic. So a lot of times now, people are saying that okay, blockchain is very risky, especially for the legal part, and it's very complicated to understand, right? But what would you advise, let's say, legal practitioners out there? Like, what's the first step? You even say, okay, this whole blockchain might be confusing, but there are definitely going to be entities, organizations like Paycoin now that is owned by Mr. Victor that will come up. And how will you suggest to those lawyers or solicitors that this is how they can go about understanding the space?
I checked Mr. Victor's profile. I think I should be bowing at his feet. So you guys don't start. I want to check my own. I hope he saw anything of interest. Okay.
Please,
Well,
no bowing here. No bow. We don't do bows.
Okay, I'm sorry then. Victor, I was supposed to take a bow, but fine. Okay. See, in getting into, for lawyers, the first thing I advise is, and this is where it's complex, you need to understand the blockchain technology. What is it about? How does it work? I can't talk about you can't talk about regulation of a particular entity or stuff if you do not understand how that thing is built together and how it functions. One of my core metrics in life, it's on the foundation is a critical part for me. So if you do not understand the blockchain technology in detail, you will not be able to offer advisory services on it. You will not be able to offer. You will not be able to consider the advantages or the use cases for it. That's my take on that. So you need to understand the blockchain technology, and there are resources on that actually. You don't need to be a blockchain developer to be able to understand that. There are resources on all that. But you need to be able to think, honestly, you need to be able to think like a developer. How do you put this blockchain technology together? What does it do? And how does it function? That enables you to be able to offer services on it, based on it. Right. Hope I answered that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you did. Okay, so we'll be going back and forth between Mr. Victor and Mr. Augustine. We'll try as much as possible to give bring up questions that both of you can shed more insight on. But I would like to start with one that has already been thrown to the table. That is thrown on the table. That is the discussion on in-era. I know we don't want to bring it up here, but I'm fascinated. I want to get your opinion on it. So, Austin, what is your opinion on in-era, and do you think is affecting the whole wave, the Web 3.0 or the blockchain / the crypto space, cryptocurrency space as it is?
In-era, is the in-era based on is the in-era on the in-era blockchain? Pardon me, I'm just trying to be to get that.
Oh, okay. No, it's not that in-era blockchain. So, okay, so I think I phrased it. I lumped in-era with blockchain. Maybe that's my error. But it's quite fascinating that some people see it as an alternative to cryptocurrency. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I was trying to do a distinction between really. I think what we really need to understand is that the foundation of all this thing is the blockchain, right? That's where a lot of all these things rest on. So a lot of things a lot of stuff that is not based on that is actually shouldn't form part of the conversation, right? The in-naira is electronic naira now. isn't it? So it has the same characteristics as the naira. It's just that it's not in paper form. That's all it is. Do we have a normal Bitcoin? That's in a paper Bitcoin. Do we have a paper Bitcoin? So the characteristics of the e-naira has nothing to do with, in the strict sense of it, what the cryptocurrency is. So there's no conversation around it, honestly. There's no
Okay.
conversation around it. Yeah.
Okay. Not taking, not taking. So that's a very straightforward answer to that question. Okay, so I would like to go to Mr. Victor. Although this is a question that I think both of you can shed more insight on. So I've heard of SEC. Personally, our own startup at Agulite as a global Web 3.0 learning space. Yes, we try as much as possible to get blockchain developers, Web 3 specialized front-end developers, mobile app developers to get into this space. We provide learning resources. But at a point in time, we are running our platform. We had to even working towards building a utility token, but we ran into an issue of SEC and the regulation, saying your token is either a security token or not, and the thin line between whatever you're building being counted as a security or not. So, Mr. Victor, on your own part, I don't know if your platform has any affiliation to its own native token. Did you guys build any token for your platform, or are you purely based on the blockchain? You're working with blockchain and other cryptos. Hello, Victor. Can you hear me? Okay. So I'm not getting anything from you. I think probably the network over there. Okay. So, Mr. Austin, on your own part, I know SEC. When we talk about SEC, that's a huge topic. It's all around regulations. So utility tokens, security tokens, but there are issues with SEC and the regulation on whether what you are building or whatever you have on your platform is considered a security or not. So I don't know if you can shed more light. What are the characteristics of a token that makes it a security, and what are the characteristics of a token that will make it outside the security range so that we don't get clamped down by SEC?
Okay, so we'll go to what you mean by SEC. Are we referring to the Nigerian Security and Exchange Commission or the United States Security and Exchange Commission?
Is Nigerian. Let's start with the country because we are within the country, yeah. Before we talk about the
Nigerian Security Exchange Commission.
All right. So the Nigerian Security and Exchange Commission is the regulator in charge of securities in Nigeria. So if you like, you are raising a security. So that answers the question, isn't it? In raising a security token, you're actually falling into their domain. Remember what I said in the beginning, that there do not seem to be one law that regulates issues based on blockchain all around the world, right? So, but when you use the blockchain for specific cases, the country-specific laws around that thing, around that space, will then apply. I think I mentioned that. So the security law in the Nigerian security laws provides creates that provision. So the Nigerian security laws will regulate security tokens, and the laws are onerous. But this is where it gets interesting, really. And these are my thoughts. So, first off, the securities listed in the Nigerian stock market, right, are the securities that are under the control of public traded company. Most of the time, their securities are under the control of SEC, right? So, for your security to be tradable, that's for people to be able to buy and sell the valuation, it must be registered with SEC. But if you are a private limited company, there is the possibility that you can actually issue security token, even though you are in Nigeria. Again, is that ability to be able to distinguish between a public limited liability company and a private limited liability company. This is where the wahala comes. A private limited liability company is not allowed to advertise to the public the sale of its securities. So if you go online and say Agulite security token will be on sale for so and so, you are falling foul of the company regulations. But again, there are ways about it. That's not for this call. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I think we as a company also run into that issue, and thank you for that. I like the way you always end with there are ways around it. So just a little disclaimer. Yes, there are ways around it, but they are also legal. Yes. Okay. So I don't know if Mr. Victor.
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Victor. Victor, are you with us? Okay, so I can't get him. Okay. So finally, before we proceed, I also want to get from you. There is this thin line between regulation and innovation. We brought up the discussion early in the morning section. Since you are a legal practitioner, so I believe you light more light on this. There is a saying that the higher the regulation, the lower the innovation. So there is this. So everybody is trying to balance, each country, each technology is trying to balance regulation and innovation. Do you think more regulation on the Web 3.0 space, or let's be specific on the blockchain technology, will limit the innovations that are coming up in the space? Miss Austin?
Hello, Mr. Austin, are you there? Marcel, can you hear him?
No, I can't hear him.
Neither can I. So I think he might be having network challenges too.
Okay. So while we are still on the topic, why they come back? So Itwa, can you shed your own thoughts? I know you also have your own thoughts between regulation and innovation. What are your thoughts? Balancing the scale, yeah.
So my thoughts on regulation and what?
Plus innovation. So do you think more regulation will limit innovation? Do you think we should
Well,
go go all hell with innovation and forget regulation? What are your thoughts?
it's two ways really when it comes to the line of regulation. Right? Innovation will always happen regardless of any regulation that comes. But the thing now about regulation is the fact of the regulators in charge. Do they understand the innovation that they are trying to regulate? It, it's just like if someone doesn't understand a particular space, take it now, the blockchain space. No, let's even take the NFT. When NFT started as a boom in late 2020, the regulators didn't really understand what was going on. It was innovative, right? A JPEG can sell for millions, right? But people didn't understand what was going on. It was an innovative technology. It was brilliant. It could be used. It can serve for a lot of use cases. But one, regulation is always slow to try and catch up to innovation. Why? Because innovation is always forward thinking and using the latest technologies and techniques that are out there. So regulation hinders it only when there is not enough information. But if there's information, there is talent on the regulator side, there is knowledge, it won't hinder innovation, but rather it will augment it. right? I think that's just my own take on it. Knowledge is very key for regulators, just like Mr. Austin said. And if regulators are to successfully, successfully taking a particular way of, checking out for innovation and seeing how it could be useful, or consider it maybe how they can earn from it, then the very first thing they'll need to do is to work with the people that are already thriving in that space to build better, or maybe more cooperative policies. That's my own take. Hello, Marcel. Are you there? You're on mute if you can hear me. All right. Mr. Austin, can
Hello,
you hear me?
hello, I can hear you,
Okay,
of course.
Mr. Victor, you're fine.
Okay, so welcome back, Mr. Victor. We were asking a question. So this is a general question that we ask. You're already in the space, and Ito has given his opinion on regulation versus innovation, especially in the blockchain space, Web3 space. So what are your thoughts? There are a few people saying that the more regulations that's coming up in the blockchain space will limit innovation, and vice versa. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, my thought in that regard is that the truth is that as much as regulation could look like something maybe small, I will say that it has very high effect on how much innovation can be done. For example, a lot of people could build different kind of products leveraging on blockchain technology. A lot, like I mean, a lot of solutions that can work, that can scale. But the truth is that the majority of people that wants to use this product, they are afraid of whatever regulation says. Nobody wants to do crypto transaction and get his account blocked. Remember, no Nigerian citizen want to do something that can get him in a way that they are like scared of this regulation. They are like afraid. They want to go with what the government supports. Anywhere you talk about this thing, people will like government doesn't support it, government doesn't. So regulation has high effect on how much of innovation can be done. And no matter, so I think innovation can be limited based on the country regulation. That is why some countries like UAE, that is very crypto friendly, countries that are very crypto friendly, you will agree with me that a lot of products that will work there and scale and might not scale in Nigeria. A product that will work perfectly well in El Salvador, that they have legalized crypto as a legal tender, will probably not work well like that in Nigeria because it's not a legal tender here. So the summary is that the truth is that regulation has high effect on how much innovation can be done. And if there is even no matter the good product, other people tend to register most companies outside of the country just for them to have peace with incorporation and all of those things. So I think regulation really has high effect on innovation, and innovation can be limited if regulation is not just there. Sincerely, some startups can just even die just because of regulation. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a
That's
unique perspective, yeah, a unique perspective to the talk about regulation and innovation. Okay, so Austin, if you are with us, can you shed more light and give us your own opinion on the long-standing dilemma between regulation and innovation? Hello, Austin, are you with us?
Yes, I am here. Regulation is not evil per se. So let's not look at regulation like evil. Regulation is not evil, right? It's the content of the regulation that dictates certain things. Example, when we talk about when I mean regulation is not evil. If we don't have proper regulations, you will not have the right confidence to deal with me in certain transactions, right? So regulation is not evil. Let's begin with that. Where the challenge for regulation springs is when those being regulated will not, and I'm not using do not, when they will not participate in the regulation. Eventually, a lot of things will be regulated, whether you want it regulated or not. Okay, whether you want it regulated or not. Eventually, everything will be regulated, but it's the ability to participate in regulation that's key. So, the same way, like what Victor was saying, regulation can, yes, destroy innovation. Regulation can aid innovation. Regulation can also aid innovation. So, but to crypto-based or blockchain-based enterprise, and then the companies moving towards where there's better regulation. That's because of the advantage regulation creates for that. And what that means basically will be determined by the content of the regulation. But you see, in doing business in Nigeria, whether you are incorporated outside the country or you want to do business in Nigeria, you have to be incorporated in Nigeria. So that would throw up its own dynamics too. That would throw up its own dynamics. I dare say, in a clear sense of it, that the use of user, how do I say this about something? Again, like we say, disclaimer, but a lot of use case, blockchain technology use case is not forbidden by regulation in Nigeria. The critical aspect of it that is forbidden is essentially the legal tender aspect of it. But be it as it may, the law does not forbid peer-to-peer acceptance of cryptocurrencies. The law does not forbid that. Anyway, I think I've answered that on regulations. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. I know you are trying as much as possible not to say extra. but no problem. I understand where you're coming from. So with that said, there is a question in the chat area that kind of goes deeper into this question. It's more like a cascaded question. So he said, when regulation hinders innovation, how can we correct it? Okay, so how do we correct it when regulation hinders innovation? Okay, so Victor, I want you to go first. What are your opinions on that?
That's a very funny question. Like, when regulation is affecting innovation, anyways. Like, I think the way we can, I think the best thing we can do to correct it is number one, if you have the money to incorporate your company in another country, good, you can go for that, and that solves the problem at least to a very good extent. But and second thing that you can do is like try to look for other means that, like, okay, how can I get this thing done? Sometimes, even though we could be seeing it from that perspective, the regulation is affecting it. Look at it, for example, the regulation has affected the way people get to convert crypto to naira. What people came up with peer-to-peer, and people are still able to convert their crypto to naira, but just with a different method. That's just the thing. So if there are other ways, other innovative ways that could work, then you can, also go for that. But the first one is like, if you can incorporate out of the country, then do that. Because the truth is that you honestly, as an individual or as a someone starting a new company, might not be able to affect the regulation when you are not a policy. Like, regulation is controlled by the government. Most of these things. So it takes a lot of higher power, and maybe having good network of people in the government sector can also help. Those are the things I think from my own perspective.
Okay. So in essence, yeah. So I've been saying this over and over again. So I also want to say it so that every other person that might be getting this recording later or that is participating in this talk, disclaimer: this is not financial advice. It's not. This everything discussed here is based on personal opinion, and it shouldn't constitute to a legal or financial advice. So, Mr. Victor, Austin, it's all you guys are asleep. You can go ahead and say as you feel. Okay, so back to topic. Um, since you recommended that first incorporate outside the country, especially if possible, if you have the means of participating in the regulation such that it helps your venture, you can do that. That is getting towards lobbying, but no problem. Let's not go to that state. Mr. Austin, if you can shed more light on this, the question is when regulation hinders innovation, how can we correct it?
All right. Yeah. Again, correct it by changing it or participating in influencing the change, or you participate in, or you find a way you can operate without the regulation affecting you. I'll give you the example of a company, for example, cannot, a private limited company cannot offer its shares to the public. What that means is that it can't advertise and ask the public to come buy shares. But you notice when MTN was offering its shares to the public, it went on radio, went everywhere. Remember that. A private company can't do that, right? Why? Because of the regulations regarding private company and public company. But you know what? Some of the private companies we have advised in raising their funds through seemingly that means. We've told them to add a disclaimer. What is the disclaimer? That what they are this publication that they are putting out there is not an offer for you to buy shares. You are accepting that you are the one offering to buy their shares. Do you understand what I mean? It sounds a bit technical, but that's the deal. Did the same thing, but was able to understand how the restrictions in the regulations can be turned against it and used. Okay, so that's the way. That's the way. Either you change the regulation or you find a way you could use the regulation without offending the provisions of the regulation. That's the way. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, okay. So that is a very clever way of going around the regulation when it comes to raising funds around as a private companies.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I wouldn't want to place too much emphasis on that, but I think
All right.
it's hold on a bit. You said something about saying that the company that you are not selling, that this company indicated interest to buy. So that kind of thing, the work around it. So I think Itwa also has a question to add, has something to add before we move on to the next part. Itwa.
Yeah, it's not more or less like on the regulation stuff. Let me first of all hint what Mr. Augustine is trying to say. I think in the area there are some things that really, yes, there are ways to bypass some policies that have been put in place. That's good. But I think what me I'm basically interested, I think this is directed to Mr. Augustine, is this smart contracts, right? I really want to hear your opinion on smart contracts. Let me put it in this unconventional way. Will smart contracts augment lawyers, or will it just make lawyers extinct? I'm not saying extinct and like erase their functions because they have where they can play a role. But I'm just saying in the Web3 space, are lawyers really going to be necessary when there are things like smart contracts?
And you think you should be asking a lawyer that question?
Yeah, that's why I say it's unconventional.
No. There's still a space for Web 3.0 for lawyers. But lawyers will have to stop thinking like conventional lawyers. That's the deal, right? Lawyers will have to stop thinking like conventional lawyers. Lawyers will have to do this. Lawyers will have to become, if they don't become, they will need to have UX researchers in their team. The user case determines what you provide, isn't it? In that case, determine what they provide. Example, we're having this conversation. You do not even know where I am in the world right now having this conversation. So, but if we were going to sit down and I'll wait for you to come to the office, talk to me in the office, sit down in the office before we have this conversation, we will not be having this conversation, right? So the user would dictate what the lawyers will provide. And like I've told a lot of lawyers too, I've told them that it's all the stuff you get to hear about user experience and all the rest of them. You will have to optimize for user experience. In Web 3.0, legal services will be madly required, but it will be legal services that will specific to to the Web 3.0. So give me a scenario in a smart contract, and let's see whether you will need the aid of a lawyer in understanding it. Because there are two things we are looking at when we talk about lawyers' role generally in transactions, right? Lawyers' role in transaction is in two forms. Number one is advising about the transaction. Number two is documenting the agreement. You get that. Advising on the transaction will not see. Documenting it may see, but advising on it will not see. Yeah, it was right.
Okay, okay. Let me know. I know you didn't answer that question straightforward there because saying they will
I
get
did.
extent or not.
I said no. I said okay. Wait.
He
This is
needs
what
a
I'm saying.
scenario. So it's like a scenario is needed to be able to determine how that question will be answered.
Yes, to understand. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But see what I'm
So,
saying. See what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that for every transaction, the role of a lawyer is broken down into two forms. Number one, advising on the transaction, right? Then number two, preparing the document that embodies what was agreed on the transaction. Isn't that it? That's it now. Or is there any other role the lawyer plays in the transaction? That's the two roles. But what I'm saying is the first role of advising on the transaction will never cease, except you do not want to get the proper legal advice, right? But documenting it may not be role may cease, but advising on the role will not cease. So lawyers will be required to advise on Web 3.0 transactions because
okay.
consequences on consequences. Yes.
If you don't have legal advice, you might end up violating one regulation or the other. So I don't think you will go on. Let me not say you. You're not the, you guys as legal practitioners will go extent there. So that is, I think that's the straightforward answer to that question. I think that sheds more light on that answers the question.
Okay, like it was touching on the regulation part, but I get where this led to. So it kind of gives me a situation of this. Like I've been reading some articles. Sorry, and this reading of articles doesn't necessarily mean that now I might be an expert. No, it's just like it sparked a question in my mind that all you need is a smart contract, and they make it sound like if you just put a coder down and just tell him that A is this and B is this for that transaction, it therefore makes a lawyer like non-existent. Like I won't say non-existent, so maybe that's not the word, but it doesn't make a lawyer needed or a solicitor needed. So let them say, okay, there are some in two cases here that you are missing up. Maybe in this transaction, you're not taking this side. So that's where I was like coming from, not on the regulation side.
And then, right? Cool. And I'm not dealing with the regulation either. What I am telling you is, how do you know that that stipulation that guy that you coded in that contract is legal or helps you to achieve your goal? How do you know?
Okay, probably because I like had the idea in mind and I just told someone to just write the code. I think that's
Okay,
the
so
only
how
way.
do you know that that's legal? How do you know that that's a legal stipulation? How do you know?
I won't know except I get a lawyer in there.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying that in every transaction, the lawyer's role is twofold: to advise on the legality or the appropriateness of that transaction and to prepare the legal documentation. Smart contract may take away that, may take away the second part. As long as people transact, as long as there will be laws, and this is the thing, there will always be laws once you have two persons transacting. That will never go away. Laws will always be required because human beings will require laws to be able to be kept in check. How the laws will be interpreted, who will interpret it will be what will alter. So in the classical case, okay, I'm sounding like I'm advocating for lawyers. Well, yes, lawyers will be required in 3.0, but to be lawyers that have it will be lawyers that have perfect knowledge of that space. It will not be your run of the mill lawyer.
Yeah.
It will never be your run of the mill lawyer.
All right then.
Okay, so uh, thank you very much. Let's not. He said he's advocating for lawyers. He is a legal practitioner, so somehow, deep down, by default, he will do that. Okay, from the technology standpoint, I am over time. Yes, I started as a software developer before going into product management, but I have also turned into a blockchain developer because I've been dabbling around smart contracts, Solidity, and then solutions around blockchain technology. So I think from Ito's question, it's the answer Austin gave is rightly correct. How do you know that that which is coded on the smart contract is adheres to the proper regulations and is actually by using or by signing the transaction or by proceeding with the transaction, you're actually adhering to the law. You do not know unless it is explicitly stated. Or maybe you're a developer that can go and read the code. Yes, there are smart contracts. They execute by default when a condition is met. But trust me, you can also do a lot of things behind and place certain conditions in front. So you also need a legal practitioner to actually look at the conditions that are being coded on the smart contract to allow some things to happen. So from the technology perspective, yes, smart contracts are quite innovative, but there is also there can be some degree of fraudulence around it. So you also need someone that has the whole picture to look at and say, okay, this shouldn't be here, this should be here, so on and so forth. Okay, so please, before we end this section, I have one other question. If any other question comes up, we either address it on the group or probably one of us can drop a message around it. Okay, so this is a Web3 learning space. So it means that we have people of different calibers. We have people that are just coming into the Web3 space, either as a blockchain developer. We have people that are coming in, probably some people are crypto traders. We also have people that are already blockchain developers that are looking to create solutions in this space. So this question, in one way or the other, touches all three spheres. Coming in newly to actually learn the technology, become a developer, core developer, coming in as a trader, and then coming in already is established to build solution in the learning space. So the question is, how do we get started? Okay, how do we get started in creating a solution in the Web3 space? I would like Victor to go for, he has experience in getting started. So if you are to get started, if you are to redo what you've done, is there a step-by-step approach on how you can recommend that we get started in this space? Victor?
Okay, Marcel, thank you. How to get started in this crypto space? So I really think that there are a lot of perspective to it. I don't know if you are coming from the angle of maybe an entrepreneur that wants to go into blockchain, or someone who is skilled like a software engineer, maybe a lawyer. What perspective do you mean that getting started from? What, like, kind of, you could come into this career of blockchain and all of these things and say that you want to be a blockchain engineer. You could come here and say that you want to look at how blockchain can solve a problem and be an entrepreneur and lead that kind of innovation. In what of this angle are you coming from with your question?
My bad. I actually jumbled three of them together. So We have from what I just listed, we have like four categories. Someone that is coming in as a developer, first of all, someone that is just coming in probably not non-tech related but wants to get started in the Web3 space. Then someone that is already established and wants to create a solution. That is an entrepreneur. So let's say three. Let's just narrow it down to three. So can you give us from your own perspective, three of them, I think three of them can follow three different paths on getting started. So if you can start with the first, how do we get started as someone that is coming into the technology as a wants to get into development? Any recommendation on how to get started before we proceed with the other two?
Okay, all right, thank you. So for someone that is coming into development career, for career line or as an engineer or something, the best thing is to learn. Okay, after you probably maybe let's say front end engineer, you already do JavaScript and all of those things, and the next thing you should learn is Solidity. Solidity teaches how to create smart contracts, how to create tokens, and all of these things on blockchain. So learning Solidity is a way to start building career as a blockchain engineer. And that's something that a developer can do. And any developer that already has maybe a basic experience with writing code can just go into Solidity and understand how Web3 work. Solidity will teach you most of these things in terms of blockchain related stuffs. Yeah. And as an entrepreneur, I would say that it's a bit like diverse. For example, how you can look at it. What exactly is blockchain technology bringing? The only thing blockchain technology is bringing, let me say, is like when we want decentralization. So anytime there is this Web 3.0 thing everywhere, what I used to tell people is it's just all about decentralization. It's just about the fact that this thing will not be controlled by anyone. And just as there is now Central Bank of Nigeria, what blockchain technology brings is like a decentralized bank of Nigeria, for example. So that's why it is very difficult to let all of this decentralized platform, control from or like central bank. That's just the thing. So when you want to innovate in that line, you think of okay, for example, let me use voting system that I mentioned before as an example. Imagine everyone can vote and everybody can see the count and it's not controlled by anyone. You vote, Marcel will vote, you see one. I vote, you see two. Anybody else votes, you see three. And everybody is seeing the count as it is moving. With blockchain technology, platforms like that will be used because it is completely trustworthy and cannot be controlled by anyone. And even in the health sector now, when you get to different hospitals, imagine data of people are decentralized and anyone can access data of anyone from any hospital, maybe with a unique ID, and nobody necessarily control that data. The data is just updated by the owner, and then everybody will just access that data from any hospital, making it easy for people to get health care from anywhere. So there are a lot of ways that blockchain technology could be applied. But what I always tell people is that we should not even think of the blockchain technology first. Think of the problem to solve first. Think of the pinpoint, what people need. And now, after you have think that what people need, then is when you should now think that, okay, I think blockchain technology is the best approach to solve this problem that will work for people. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Because when you start thinking from the perspective of technology first is not the best way of solving problems. So far, so good. I have, building solutions, I realize that it's not best to think of technology first. Think of the problem. What problem do people have? Because if you solve a problem, and if you just solve something with blockchain technology, people might not use it because they probably don't have that problem. But if you say, okay, what problem do people have? How does blockchain technology address this problem that people have? Then do the product on it. That's the approach that I think works for both entrepreneurs and engineers.
Okay, thank you very much. That's I think that's you hit the nail right on the head from your own perspective and from your experience. Okay, thank you for that. I would like to move over to Mr. Austin. So we have two three categories. First of all, someone that is coming in as a developer, he has already answered that. So I think from your own point, Mr. Austin, you can answer as you have worked with a lot of entrepreneurs. And like you said, when you stated when you came in, you also worked with a few entrepreneurs within the blockchain space. So with your experience, how would you advise us to get started? Because as this is a space where people from different walks of worlds people are coming in from. So how do you recommend that we get started on the blockchain space as an entrepreneur? Justin.
Okay. Victor really hits the nail on the head. That most of the time, it's not really about technology; it's about what you want to do, right? And then whether the technology will do it for you. So I think this focus on solution is actually what it is for me, right? And then the other thing is when you think through the solution, you also realize that you might need to understand how you can create that solution within the ambit of the laws or regulation around where you are operating from. Unfortunately, from this part, we always look at regulation as if it's problem instead of thinking, okay, we always look at law as if laws and regulation. We always look at law and regulation from the reactive point instead of the offensive part as part of the core strategy we need for our business. What do I mean? We want to provide a solution. You go like, ah, instead of you go like, how do I use the law and achieve my goal faster? That's the best option that's the best mindset you need to have. Law as a strategic tool, not law as a defensive tool, but as a strategic tool. And that makes your solution faster in terms that you won't run into unnecessary bottlenecks along the route, and then you'll be able to scale faster. That's the part I think everyone. That's the part everyone should really consider. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. That will wrap up our discussion for the day. We wanted to make sure it was 1 hour 30 minutes. We appreciate everybody that joined in for the discussion. I think we got an extra question on the chat area. We'll address that as soon as the section is ended. On behalf of the whole team here at Agulite, this is the third and final section for the blockchain week. Yes, I think Victor and Austin, you responded yes due to short timing. You are not with us on the first day and second day, but we appreciate wrapping up the blockchain week with you guys. And this discussion has gone a long way. Yes, disclaimer is not, we are not saying that this is the only legal or financial way to go forward, but as a learning space, we try as much as possible to expose and bring the realities of blockchain technology as well as the Web3 space. So thank you very much for coming in. I really appreciate the time and the effort you took to answer some of the questions. And for every other person, yes, the blockchain week is over, but we are trying as much as possible to make sure that anybody that is getting into the blockchain or the Web3 space has an easy way in. You can easily visit agulite.com and get started with the free version so that we can, as the blockchain developer, you get started. At least there is 73 modules that get you started on smart contract and Solidity, at least to get into the realm of blockchain development. We are creating an environment where anybody from anywhere of life that wants to get into blockchain technology can at least get started and have a community backing them to answer questions and shed more light on issues they may get along the way. So thank you all for joining in. Thank you for staying with us throughout the whole 3 days. And we really appreciate and would want you to stick with us as we embrace this amazing journey going forward. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Do have a wonderful day. Do take care. Bye.